IIT Delhi. TRIST is North India's largest science, technology, and management festival, presented by Graphite GTC, a no-code development platform, and organized by the student community of IIT Delhi. It aims to bring together the world's leading scientific minds, leaders, influential thinkers, and connect them to the academic community across India. To know more about Graphite, you can visit the Graphite booth at the lecture hall complex. This year's theme, A Voyage to the Zenith, focuses on capturing the advancements in business, academic, technological, and socio-economic domains that the world has undergone in the past few years in order to prepare young minds for the times to come. The title sponsor of TRIST, Graphite GTC, is a no-code development platform that allows users to build entire enterprise-class web applications visually without ever writing a line of code. The visual tools provided within the platform allow business users and subject matter experts to actively participate in the software development process, resulting in reduced risk and better communication. Aligning very closely with the TRIST 2022 theme, we are thrilled to have with us Mr. Ashish Chauhan and Mr. Brian Rishforth on a fireside chat on new trends in investing. Before we begin the session, I would like to introduce our esteemed guests. Mr. Ashish Chauhan is the Managing Director and CEO of BSE, the Bombay Stock Exchange, the first stock exchange of Asia. He is also one of the founders of India's National Stock Exchange. In India, he is widely known as the father of modern financial derivatives. Mr. Chauhan was instrumental in setting up India's first fully automated screen-based trading system and the first commercial satellite communications network. He is also the creator of several path-breaking frameworks, including Nifty Index, NSE certifications in financial markets, etc. A very warm welcome to you, sir. Our second guest is none other than Mr. Brian Rishforth. Mr. Brian is an entrepreneur, investor, managing principal, and board executive. He has over 30 years of global experience across Americas, Europe, Asia, and Middle East in growth technology, renewable energy, real estate, project development, disruptive retail, financial services, industrial operations, and global outsourced services. He is the chairman of Graphite GTC, the title sponsor of TRIST 2022. We are very thrilled to have you with us here today, sir. Now, without taking any more time, we would like to begin the session. There is also going to be an audience Q&A round towards the end of the discussion. And with that, I would like to invite upon the stage Mr. Brian to commence the session. Can we please have a huge round of applause?
Thank you very much. I'm excited to be here. Welcome to TRIST 2022. It's been 3 years since this festival has gone off. And as the title sponsor and official software development platform partner of IITD TRIST, I could not be more proud to participate in this event. It's been a long wait, and I think over the next couple days we're going to have a really exciting display of cutting-edge technology, some discussions, and some festive events. Graphite GTC, as mentioned, is the leading no-code development software platform, and relative to the vision, the leadership, and the technology that is exuded by all the students here in the room, the faculty, staff, leadership of IITD, it's very appropriate that we've come together for this event, and the qualities of that leadership and innovation is something that we're passionate about as a company, our employees are personally, and I think our guest today has had a long and esteemed career in technology, leadership, and innovation. Today, as we kick off the fest with the first of over 65 events and lectures with the famous mock stock competition, I'm very honored to be joined by my friend and our managing director of BSE and the CEO of the Bombay Stock Exchange, Ashish Chauhan. Please join me in a warm welcome, Mr. Chauhan. Mr. Chauhan leads the fastest performing stock market platform in the world with approximately $4 trillion in market capitalization. Known as the father of modern financial derivatives and largely credited for many modernization infrastructures that are now in place at BSE, he exudes what it is to be a technology leader, visionary, and entrepreneur. Technology and leadership had defined the cornerstones of BSE's success, and Mr. Chauhan has championed its rise to the #1 market in the world. As a graduate of IIT Bombay in mechanical engineering with a postgrad from IIM Calcutta in 1991, he then transitioned and was a founding member of the National Stock Exchange in 1993 before spending about 8 years in technology entrepreneurship backed by the Reliance Group. In 2009, Mr. Chauhan returned to BSE, where he has since led the organization and the exchange to become one of the most advanced and successful technology platforms in the entire world. His leadership, most importantly, has set the stage for what has become unprecedented rise in India's market with unparalleled IPO activity and the birth of a unicorn market which has exploded by more than 400% since 2020. 2022 has also continued at a very breakneck pace. Unicorns are expected to rise to over 100 this fiscal year, adding over $1 trillion in enterprise value. IITD and its alumni have been responsible for leading and launching nearly 25% of all unicorns in this country, a result of the demonstrative success of technology, leadership, and innovation of IITD as an organization, its faculty, its students, and its entire community. Without further delay, I'd like to introduce Mr. Chauhan, who's joined us here today, and turn it over to him. He's going to have some comments, and then we'll open up for some question and answers. Mr. Chauhan. Mr. Chauhan, we are not hearing your audio, sir, if you can hear me.
So, can all of you hear me? Okay, just nod. So it's a pleasure and honor to be speaking here at IIT Delhi. The topic is very interesting because one is, of course, you don't want to code but give solutions. I think that's what the motto of the company Graphite is. But it's again an interesting indication of where the world is going. The trends in investments, in a way, when I look back at my own life, how things used to happen and how things are going to happen, you will get an idea of what I am talking about. When I joined the work around 91, India used to have a very thriving culture of markets. India also had a serious issue of balance of payment problem in 1991. And if you cannot imagine, which most of you wouldn't, just search for Sri Lanka today and Sri Lanka's economic problems, and you will know what India was going through, multiplied by probably 10,000 because we are much larger. But check that out so that you understand when countries go through the trade deficits which go ballooning up and they are not able to pay up their debt to the rest of the world, what happens. And so it's again, the inflation has reared its head and many countries are going to go bankrupt. In fact, Peru is also having a running battle of people with the government on the same count of inflation. Somewhere the US, Europe, everyone is going through that. But effectively, India went through a very, very tough period in 1991. And it was not a one-off event. It was an event which came out of our inward-lookingness from 1947 to 1991. So it was not a one-off or one-day event. It didn't happen just because it was an accident. It was a slow train wreck. A train was moving and we could see that it's going to have an accident and very large. We didn't do anything. And so I think the onus is on all of you to keep the governments honest. Fortunately, in democracies, the numbers are available. People have rights to make noise. And that is what happened even those days. And so in 1991, we became what I call liberalized by force. We had been liberalized, but one more thing was happening, which was basically the breakage of USSR or communism. If you again don't look at it in that perspective, you will be missing out a lot. So 1989, 1991 was the period also great tumult was happening in the world. There was perestroika, and the world was actually going through a lot of changes. The Berlin Wall was broken. You cannot even imagine the kind of things which happened. But probably in next 5-10 years, when China and America become another Cold War enemies, you will see what I'm talking about. Because history continues to repeat, not the same way, in some different loop, but it does repeat. When if you are a programmer, if you're a coder, you would know what I say about do loop. But basically, 1991 was a great period of change for the world. It became a period of change by force for India, and that's where India started liberalizing. One more thing came, which is what changed the world drastically, but more importantly, it changed India's perspective much more than anyone else's as a country, as a society, and that is what I call information technology. When I was studying at IIT Bombay in 1985 to 89, India was producing probably 500 to 1,000 maximum number of computer science engineers. And so India was not greatly a technology nation. We used to import technology, even not the information technology type, but even the manufacturing technology, even the one which had been invented 100 and 200 and 500 years back, we were importing. And the elites used to be able to import and do things with that and make production in case. But effectively, it was an elite-run economy, elite-run society. Whatever name we gave it in those days of democracy, it was only on the surface. Behind the scene, it was basically a dance of the elites. And the information technology was not a great thing. Nobody knew. In fact, when I joined my job in 1991 at IDBI, which was a very large bank those days, it was the largest development financial institution. And there, we had a strike of almost 100 days because the bank bought computers. Each person was given a PC-80, as it is called, not laptop but desktop. And there was a big strike saying that it's going to take away our job. And in that context, when you look back, India has done a great progress. At some point in time, we implemented the first large implementation of technology in India was in railway reservation system. It was developed by CMC, which was an outcome of IBM. IBM was forced to leave India in 1977 because of the nationalization of, at that time, nationalization of banks happened, nationalization of many companies happened which were foreign owned. And if you don't recall this history, you will repeat it, and that's why I'm telling you this. And so in around 1993-94, the railway reservation happened. I was fortunate to be part of a team that set up NSE, where the automated stock exchange in the world first time became successful. We were the pioneers of that. But these two projects became technology demonstrators for India to have that confidence, and for world to have that confidence that a country which is basically a snake charmer's country, an elephant's country, or a cow roaming on the road country, which still happens. And when I used to go to America in 93 or even 92, most of the time you will get news about India once in 15 days, 20 days about India having some sort of a snake charmer on the road. Those photographs would come. No other discussions on India except abject poverty. Only after the success of stock markets, which were automated, that India became a powerhouse in IT. And when the Y2K problem came, again read up Y2K if you have not been aware, but Y2K changed the world because people used to program with very little resources. I used to program with 16 kilobits of memory in my IIT days, while as you guys are now into gigabits, right? So basically we, across the world, people used to program with very little resources in the random access memory or even in the storage. And that's where the Y2K problem came, because people used to program 1968 as a year as 68 and 1969 as 69. So when it had to become 2000, it would have become 00 instead of 2000, and it would have created a huge problem in terms of the planes not reaching in time, or probably planes not going anywhere, to banks making mistakes, to even nuclear plants going bust. And that's where a Y2K problem was recognized around 94, 95. And Indians were the ideal people suited for solving the codes of the world. And so that's how people who were not even engineers started printing engineering degrees from wherever and started going to US and Europe. And fortunately, they solved that problem. And that's how India came to be known as a master of technology. It did not happen by design. It happened by accident, because an opportunity opened up. Enterprising Indians actually moved out, learned the skills, and created something which the world wanted at a cost which was like 100th the cost if they tried to do themselves, and in the time. And literally, world had no event on year 2000, January 1, 2000 itself is a miracle, and it's also a testimony to India's strength of brilliance that oozes out of every pore of India from everywhere in the country, right? So be aware that even in the recent legacy, we were nobodies. Today we have become somebody is because of the use of technology. And we as a country, we as society, we as individuals, we as people, not as government, took over that challenge, tried to do things better so that we can have better life. Our children can have better life, and that's why all of us worked hard. And now India is considered as a country. I think Brian said that this year we might have 100 unicorns. We might have 10,000 in the next few years. But for me, the seed was sown in early 90s by having some experiments which became successful, and India became a technology powerhouse. And that brings me to the other side of my topic, that after working for almost 31 years, I have always tried to philosophize that what happened in my life, why it didn't happen in my father's life or his father's life or before that, is because the technology is the only change that happens in the world, and the society surrounds that technology. Society usually doesn't want to change, because the elites want to continue. The people having money, people having wealth, people having privileges, they want to continue that privilege. It created more wealth than that was created 10,000 years before that industrial revolution. But India was not a party to the industrial revolution. India was a spectator, not even a spectator. It was outside the stadium. And that's where basically India missed out when the Mughals, the Islamists, tried to conquer India in 1000 AD. India used to provide 50% of world GDP. When Britishers tried to conquer India in 1650, India used to provide 33% of world GDP. When Britishers left, India was providing 2% of world GDP. They looted a lot, but they also created productivity. They created, using technology, new weapons to subjugate us, but they also created textile mills. They also created trains, railways, and so many other technologies, so that their productivity increased like 100 times, 10,000 times. And that's where we came down from 50 to 33 to 2% in 1947. And then we worked hard from 1947 to 1991, made it probably 2 to 3%. Now we are probably 3.5%, 4% of the world's GDP. But if you look forward, the same technology waves are coming even faster. What used to happen in 100 years is now happening in 5 years. Like for example, electrify many villages. Cars also took similar time. Computers took probably 40, 50 years. Mobile phone took 30 years. Facebook took 10 years. TikTok took 2 years, right? Waves are coming faster and faster, and people are adapting, the societies are adapting to those changes, and the wealth gets created because of that. If you look forward next 50 years, there are 20 such technologies, or probably 30 such technologies, which are coming up, and world will create more wealth over next 50 years than that has been created last 10,000 years. India missed out on the last 1,000 years wealth creation in a way, because we did not participate in the industrial revolution. But next 50 years, we will be at the forefront. Who can create the wealth? Who can learn the new technology? Young people can learn the new technology. And India is the youngest large nation in the world. Japan is old. China has suddenly become old. In 2015, they got less number of people in job market than in 2014. And they are rapidly becoming old because of the one-child policy. Europe is old. America is getting old. And so we are the only young, large country in the world. And we are not a backward-looking country. We don't look back to 2,000 years or 5,000 years back. Of course, we read about it. It's nice to be proud about your culture, but we are all forward-looking people. We want to make something good with our life, with technology, and that's where I think India is going to play a huge role. If world's wealth today is around $360 trillion, and India's wealth is $9 trillion, the next 50 years, the world will make $360 trillion more, out of which India will probably make 25% of that, because we are 18% of world population, probably 20% of world's young population, and probably 25% of world's technologically oriented young population. So if we make 25% of the world new wealth and new GDP, then $90 trillion, 360 trillion, almost $100 trillion economy in 50 years. In terms of the wealth, which means our GDP might be around 25 to $30 trillion. And that is basically going to happen in your lifetime, probably not in my lifetime, but it will happen in your lifetime. And that's a great amount of wealth creation. Literally 10 times more wealth than what we have compared to the rest of the world. And from being a developing nation with $2,000 per capita income, we might become what I call middle income country if we remain non-violent, if we remain the technologically oriented country going forward. That brings me to the third part of the topic, which was the main topic, is basically about what is happening in investments. Many people confuse investments with trading. When you see television, when you read news, when you watch on your mobile, what you're watching is trading. Trading on stock markets is very exciting because they actually take prices of assets. Financial assets go up and down. And that's very exciting because everyone has some stake in the assets. But what creates wealth is not trading. Trading is an essential part of creation of wealth. But creation of wealth basically happens by using new technologies or even old technologies to produce something and then create profits out of that. And what is a company? Company is basically a large partnership where lots of people put in lots of money, whatever they want to put in, and if the company makes profits, then the owner who has bought that share is going to get proportionate that portion of the share. And if there are many companies which go up in profits, and there are examples in India, like Infosys, like Reliance, in 30, 40, 50 years, they've created tremendous amount of wealth. TCS, Kotak Bank, and so on and so forth. They've created tremendous amount of wealth, and India has a history of almost 200 years of stock markets. Today, our per capita GDP is $2,000. No other country in the world with that kind of per capita, very small per capita income, with almost subsistence level economy, you don't end up saving. But India saves 30%, and large part of it is now reflected in stock markets. Today, BSE's market capitalization listed is around $3.6 trillion. It's fifth largest in the world. And $9 trillion if India's wealth is there, 36% or even 40% is represented by BSE alone. And that's basically about trust of people and companies of India, which are supposed to do well going forward. Our companies are now supporting the world. For example, Infosys in 1994, when it came for IPO, a public issue, first time to stock market, nobody even had heard of it. Nobody had heard of even IT companies. And the public issue failed. And today, it is one of the largest companies in the country, not only in the country, but in the world, right? And so, a huge amount of wealth creation is going to happen. It will happen because earlier people used to put in a lot of capital to create more capital. That's why it was called capitalism. That you required a lot of capital to put in more capital. Whereas today, in the new technology world, what you require is little bit of capital, lot of brains, and you can create still a lot of wealth. So I call it a capitalism without capital. That you can create great wealth without putting in a lot of capital, but that small little capital which is required is what will come from the stock markets. Our investors, I have 10 crore plus investors who can invest in your ideas, your companies. So if you want 1 lakh rupees, BSE gets you. BSE also has incubator in Mumbai and Varanasi both. We are trying to open new incubators as a part of our CSR activities. So if you want to start your business, you are running a company where you have some customers, you can come and sit in BSE's incubator. We give you money, we give you mentors, we handhold you, we take you to the North America to meet new customers, to Europe, to Gulf, to Japan. But we also ensure that your company tries to succeeds. We have people supporting you in all ways. And then if you want slightly more money, you can list on your BSE startup segment. Companies are raising 1 crore, 2 crores also. And then if you want slightly more, you can list on SME segment. And then you can also graduate to main board. And basically, it's all done seamlessly. So you don't have to kind of coming out, you don't have to come out with newer and newer IPOs. It keeps on happening. Once you are done an IPO, you can graduate to the next board very easily. And that's where India's SME market is very successful in raising capital, allowing wealth creation by entrepreneurs, and also sharing with the other investors. But today, you will not find a situation where if you have good ideas, good execution, good company going, if you don't get funding from venture capitalists or private equity, you can come to the public market like BSE and raise your funds. Many times we get an impression in India that a lot of people, literally everyone is getting funded by private equity, venture capitalists and all. That is not true. Almost 1 out of 10,000 proposals get funded. The rest 9,999 are left holding the baby with no funding. You can come to BSE, raise your funds and actually increase your capital, increase the activities of your company, create profits. Don't try to be under the impression that the companies which burn out more are great companies. It is a style of those investors who want those burning out and also burn out other people in that system in the nearby companies. But usually it doesn't succeed in the long run. If you continue to remain profitable, probably you will do better. The last portion of my talk is the investment itself. When we started, we used to have a floor till 1994-95, where people used to go physically and trade, but only few people could do it. It became automated, screen-based, then it came on mobile. Today, people, to get that 1 microsecond extra, they try to keep their servers next to BSE servers. It's called co-location facilities. You might have also seen a scandal in NSE on co-location facility, that within co-location also people were basically trying to get more advantage by working up with the exchange officials and things like that. And so newer and newer ideas will come. The fastest trading happens literally in microseconds. Then of course you have algorithms which do this, but there are algorithms which actually eat the news. They take up the news wherever somebody speaks, some news comes up, and then algorithms try to figure out which company will make profits or loss. they try to invest on that basis. There are mutual fund managers who try to allocate the funds of their customers into different areas. I wouldn't try to make you an expert in 1 hour, but there are literally millions of ways you can participate in markets, not only in India, but across the world today. There are many large American corporates or European corporates who have back offices here. They have algorithm trading offices in Delhi, in Bangalore, like I recall Fidelity, which is the largest fund manager in the world. They have almost 50,000 people in Bangalore. Bank of New York Mellon, which is not a large player in the front side, but they are like a settlement bank, and they have like 25,000 people in Pune. And similarly, Deutsche Bank, I've been told, has 7,000 people in Jaipur. And so, literally, the opportunity for people who want to use technology in finance, especially markets, is immense today for Indians, not only to participate in India, but also in the rest of the world. But that is on the technical part of it. On the wealth creation, if you want to start your company, get funding from somebody, or even if you don't need funding, you want to just create your wealth, come do IPO, and you will be able to create great wealth. Many times I used to say that, what is the similarity between Ratan Tata, Dhirubhai Ambani, Narayan Murthy, and Azim Premji? They all became billionaires because they listed on BSE, right? And so if you want to become billionaires, you'll have to come to BSE, and if you start early, it is better. So for creation of wealth, or for trading, or for just making a career of IT itself, there is huge opportunity for everyone going forward. With that, I'll close my talk just now, and then we can take question answers. Thank you.
Mr. Chauhan, thank you very much. Incredible insights, sage advice. And the key things I heard was learn from the past. As technologists and entrepreneurs, we're always looking forward, but don't ignore lessons of history. Take advantage of technology revolutions and technology shifts, and embrace what India has as its most precious resource, which is its human capital and information that you're all developing here in prestigious institutions like IITD. So with that, thank you very much, Mr. Chauhan. I'm going to open it up to the group for some questions, and we'll take a couple. I think we have a roaming microphone. Who would like to, do we have any questions from students that would like to go first? Well, to get it started, I'm going to ask one just to mobilize the thought process. So, Mr. Chauhan, what do you see as on the forefront of some of the most disruptive either events or technologies, whether that's crypto or artificial intelligence, that's becoming a force to be reckoned with in the financial markets and the global economy?
No, I think this is on top of everyone's mind, that which are the next 10 trends which are going to be successful. And in some ways, the crypto comes to everyone's mind because crypto is where you manufacture the money. And why all of us work is to have money, right? So if you can manufacture, then why would you want to work? So it's the easiest way. It's like earlier, a bank robber was asked by the judge that why did you rob the bank, and he said that was where the money was. And similarly, the modern money is very ephemeral, but it is owned, it is issued by the governments under their power, or it's called authority or fiat. It's called fiat money. And so, in a way, you and me making cryptos, I mean, I can make 10,000 different types of cryptocurrencies and issue it in the different names of Nakamoto, Sakamoto, Datamoto, and issue papers. And similarly, you can do that. And everyone can issue literally billions of different coins, and in which there can be trillions of different amounts. And put together, it becomes nothing. It happened earlier also in the world when new technology came. People tried to manufacture their own money. In fact, if you look back, gold has been considered money for very long. It has reasons for that. But people wanted to manufacture gold. Like today, we want to manufacture crypto. And people wanted to manufacture gold. And out of that, an entire new science came up called alchemy. It used to be mumbo jumbo, like what crypto today is. But alchemy came about. And out of that, chemistry came about. And out of that, science came about. So it's in pursuit of crypto, something good we may come out, but not the money. Because like gold did not come out, but chemistry came out. And of course, everything else came out. So probably this blockchain and all may not be currently great technologies. But at some point in time, they may evolve well and they may become useful for many other purposes. But today, for me, crypto is something, if you can make other people fools, if you have that art, then get into crypto and issue crypto to others rather than trying to become fooled by other people's, buying other people's crypto. So my humble request and appeal to all Indian youth is that if you are smart, issue your own cryptos to other people in the world. Make fools of them. Why would you want to be fooled yourself, right? So that is as far as crypto is concerned, but it is a great opportunity if you can fool others for long, right? So it's your choice and your own assessment of your skills of making fools of others. AI seems very, very promising because it's like electricity. It can actually add that incremental value to many things, and incremental value also helps a lot, but it might also be able to create newer ways of doing things. And similarly, 3D printing, robotics, holograms, new types of energies, storage, and biotechnology, genetic modification, living longer, coming out of the disease, and literally there are 20, 30 technologies which are there, which when ultimately wealth is not the money. Money actually loses meaning. Wealth is about your claim over future resources, right? And that can come out in many ways, but people who know those technologies will be able to create those claims, and some of you, and then the way I look at it is, next 50 years we'll see at least 5 to 10 waves, which in a way over last 50 years only one wave was there, which was the wave of IT. It changed the world completely, India completely. Next 50 years we'll have 5 to 10 such waves, and those waves you have to ride. If you are in that wave, even without your knowledge or without your wanting to be there, you are there in that wave, you will make millions. It happened to me. I am a mechanical engineer. I did not want to be in IT. I set up the NSE's original IT, satellite telecom network, and I thought I'm a finance guy because I did also finance in IIM, and I was a banker. So I tried to run away from IT, but IT kept on pulling me back. I became IT head of Reliance Group. Again, here in BSc, large portion of my work relates to IT. And so I did not want to be in IT, but IT was something I knew. I'm considered very, very good despite my wanting to be there, not wanting to be there. And it has changed my life completely. Whatever career I got to a large extent is because I understand IT or I can do IT. And similarly, in next 50 years, if you're able to learn newer things every day, add value into newer areas, you never know which wave will hit you. Today I can see 20, 30 technologies which are looking promising. But after 5 years, there might be 20, 30 more, or even 200 more. And each of them might be trillions of dollars of opportunities. And that's where basically you need to keep your eyes and ears open every day, not once. Earlier in our life, even parents' life, they could learn for first 25 years and earn for next 50 years. In your life, you have to learn for first 25 years because we don't want you to just make noise. So we want you to learn. Just stay in college, be disciplined, and then every day you have to learn. You have to unlearn some of the things which you are learning today. You have to learn newer things, and that's what is going to be change between you and my career, or my life and your life, or your parents' generation and your generation. Is basically you have to learn every day, unlearn every day, get into those waves with or without knowledge. If you are in the wave, don't resist. Whatever comes your way, start trying to make great things, but India is going to achieve great things and you will be part of it. So, and you are pretty much from IIT Delhi. You are amongst the best and the brightest India has to offer. So, Participate wholeheartedly. Don't be a spectator. Try to be involved and do things.
Thank you. I think we have a question in the audience, please.
Hello. Thank you for this.
Thank you for this.
Hello. Yeah, thank you for this wonderful talk. As the global order is quite changing nowadays, so we can witness that over-reliance of technology, basically from West, can be a problem to growing India because self-reliance is the key. So how you see that as US and other Western powers look always things with its own interest, and we can witness this from the past, and as we can witness this the same in the Russia also. So how do you see that?
It's a question on everyone's mind. We are self, but no selfish interest also. We used to be just a floater, although we were very large, but we were benign. Today, after 25, 30 years, we have come to some strength. You are right that you cannot depend on other people forever. You need to create your own technological base. But it is also true that there is no nobody or no country which is self-sufficient or which is complete or which can ever be complete. And that's why, in fact, India tried to become like that, what I call very inward-looking 2000 years back. We stopped talking to rest of the world. Normally elites travel outside and understand new things, come back with new technologies, new ideas. Our elites were not allowed to even travel, right? If you recall our caste system, that if you had to travel, you became outcast. And that's why we failed. Over 2,000 years, why we failed is we became basically inward-looking. From again, when 1947, when we became independent, we took the same lesson that if we trade with the world, we will become subjugated. That's why 1947 to 1991, we tried to become self-sufficient. And whatever we had to do alone without the rest of the world. And there also we failed. So people who try to be away from the rest of the world will fail, is the lesson I have learnt. But that doesn't mean that we can't create our own strategic directions, strategic sort of self-confidence and self-manufacturing or self-creation capabilities, which we are. But today we are not in a position. We have to depend on the rest of the world. And even if we come into the position, we must try to collaborate with the world. They will have their interest. We never thought about our interests. Education did not give us any ability to think about our own interests. So 1947 to literally 2014, we were just floaters. Once or twice we tried to do things our own way, and people came and hit us. Today, you are all witness, you are adult. So you are watching this entire unfair life coming. But life is very unfair, let me tell you. And you have to still walk within that unfairness, create a framework for you, which is your interest as a country, as a nation, as a community. And of course, you also have to be fair to people within your own society. And those are the things which are basically for larger discussions. But literally, India today is in excellent position vis-a-vis rest of the world. 75 years of our independence, we were with wrong people, in wrong part in terms of the blocks. We were partnering with basically people who were with us to some extent, but they also had their own interests. That's why they were with us. They were not with us selflessly. We have to create our own self-interest, be with people based on our needs. And today, a large portion of geopolitical shifts are going to happen. The geopolitical galactic plates are moving, where slowly US-Russia, which used to be the Cold War, last 32 years have not seen that. It has become unipolar. Now it's going to become bipolar, with China trying to take up. How much China is able to do, but whichever way China is able to do or not, China is going to be a great threat to India, and India will have to continue to work with the rest of the world and with the like-minded people who also perceive that threat to ensure that that threat is managed in some ways. India cannot do it alone. India will have to take people along. China may try to go alone or with its own kind of friends that it has created. Some of them are also going down just now, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, even Nepal and so on and so forth. But new friends may come up, even Iran. I mean, in a way, Russia is also considered similar on that, although Russia is with us too. But they never be overconfident to your friendships or your friends' ability to come and help you. In that way, be self-sufficient, but take people along is what I would say.
Thank you. Back to the audience. Any more questions? Maybe one more here. Two? Okay. Could you say your name when you ask your question?
Hello. Yeah. So I am Pankaj Sharma and I am currently doing the undergrad here. So firstly, sir, I would like to thank you. It was really an insightful session for all of us. I would like to ask that what could be the best investment strategy for us? And second, like according to your experience, what could be the best piece of advice for us as a college students? Thank you.
Thank you, Pankaj. The investment advices, don't borrow and invest. Whatever you have, you can invest, is fine. Second is, don't trade. Trading is not investment. When you watch television, when you watch your other friends, buying in the morning and selling in the afternoon is called investment nowadays. It is not investment, it is speculation. So if you are good at speculation, please try to do that. Otherwise, you will lose your pant and shirt both. Right? So that is the advice for a young person who is starting the business or the career with no other background of financial markets. Investments is for long term. Invest what you have. Don't borrow and invest to the extent possible. And try to play for 5 years, 10 years kind of horizons. You can continue to watch things. You can continue to review your strategies, but over sort of a slightly longer horizon than 1 day, 2 day, or 1 month, 2 months. And that would be my advice to all young people, that if you want to be in finance, if you want to be experts, develop capabilities, work with some other people who are already working in that, gain your experience. Very few people are Albert Einstein, right? I mean, it is always possible to be what I call the next Warren Buffett at age 25 or 22 without any experience. But even Warren Buffett made most of his money after age 50. Till that time, he ended up taking a lot of experience, a lot of mistakes and all. And the world is changing so fast. Anyone who is overconfident may look successful for a short period, like 10, 20, 30 years. But in the long 50-year kind of horizons, many of those same successful people, if they don't continue to add value to themselves, continue to change their perspectives and their priorities, they also in a way fail. So be aware on the changing situation, be aware of your own resources, and work within your limits.
Thank you. We've got one more question. Please announce your name.
Good morning, sir. My name is Matangi and I am a first-year student here at IIT Delhi. My question is, what do you think is the view of the Indian rupee in the future? Will it become stronger or not? And what are the steps that the government should take to make it stronger, especially given the bilateral relations in the current economic scenario?
Yeah. Sometimes what we think strength is what is important. Sometimes, in fact, flexibility is more important than strength, right? So, rupee, I mean, currently the way the world is poised, currently across the world, huge amount of inflation is going on, which is true in US, Europe, China, Japan, everywhere inflation is going on, which is historic high, 40, 50 years high. And that's where the central banks, which were pumping in money across the globe, they are now slowly going to increase the interest rates and put a brake to that. Already brake has started being applied. So you see the world is going to slowly cool down in terms of economic activities, because when inflation happens, which is high, it affects the poorest people most, because their income doesn't rise that much and their expenses go up so much that they become very frustrated. And that's where I give you example of Sri Lanka, I give you example of Peru. It's going to happen in Pakistan most probably, because the inflation is so high. India is still pretty in a very sweet position today. Our inflation is high, but not as high, and plus the country has an ability to also manage imported inflation, as I say, that if you depreciate your currency, which you would have in all such circumstances in the past, today because of India's large foreign exchange reserves, $630 billion, we are not being kept hostage, or held hostage to make such a decision to depreciate Indian rupee. Pakistan has depreciated substantially, Sri Lanka has done that. Every other developing country is depreciating their currencies so that their exports become more competitive and they earn the foreign exchange. India has a superb foreign exchange reserves, but India also has a superb trade balance just now. Although our visible trade deficit, that is goods trade deficit, is almost $200 billion. Our services exports have reached $250 billion this year, that is 21-22. And we also get $100 billion of remittances from our workers across the world who send their money to India. So we are in a reasonably good position, and that's why Indian rupee may not depreciate much compared to US dollar, which is usually the currency you look at. But that strength may ensure that we may become sort of less competitive in terms of providing our services to rest of the world. And that's why that balance, the government will have to maintain, the economy, I mean the society will have to also inform the government, and accordingly the decisions will be taken. But today India is superbly placed within the constraints that the world is facing, and in some ways this is the first crisis in my life, and my job is to study economics and India's independence history. First time India is making decisions independently because it is in a position to make. Many times you may think you are independent, but your position does not make you independent. Today, India is hugely independent. That doesn't mean we have to take wrong decisions, which will make us dependent later on. Because if you become less competitive, then your labor, which is the services labor, which sells $250 billion of services to the rest of the world, and which is probably going to go to $1 trillion over the next 10 years, should not become sort of difficult. Similarly, your goods like textiles or even mobile phones should not become uncompetitive, because your currency being stronger ends up hurting your exports. And so those are the balances one keeps in mind while making such policies at the Reserve Bank or at Ministry of Finance.
Mr. Chauhan, thank you very much. This has been an amazing discussion on behalf of the IITD family here, Trist and Graphite GTC. Thank you very much. Please join me, folks, in a warm thank you to Mr. Chauhan. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you. Bye. Next.
I would like to thank both the speakers for taking out time from their busy schedules to be with us here today. And just after this, there is another session by Mr. Kishore Jairam, President and CEO of Rolls-Royce India and South Asia, on the innovations in the aerospace industry, starting in a few minutes at the seminar hall. So you can kindly exit from the back gate and be present at the seminar hall for the discussion. Thank you.